Hey, good evening. I know I'm late getting this posted today, but I was going to do a book review, start off our week, and I was reading A Millionaire For Cinderella by Barbara Wallace. I've made it as far as page 114 out of 185 pages, so I got 71 pages left to go, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to finish this or not, but I said I was going to do this review, so I'm kind of doing the review from what I've got. So basically, you can tell I'm not enthusiastic about this book. When looking at chapter books to review that are Cinderella, there are quite a few that fall into like the Harlequin erotic kind of stuff. Yeah. And I can kind of see why some people do that when you consider some of the fairy tales, especially Grimm tales and things like that, Rapunzel's and Sleeping Beauty and the way they were told. It's not like it's unprecedented. With Cinderella, I do feel like that's just not proper homage to the classic fairy tale. That's my personal opinion, and I don't go for erotica and that kind of junk anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Calling it young, people might get offended because they like reading it. Whatever. I don't read those kind of books. And sometimes I put a few books on hold at the library, got them, and realized, yeah, it's one of those books. No, I'm not going to put it on my list to review. Or if I had it on my list on Goodreads, I removed it as soon as I figured out I didn't want to read it. So this one, it's like, it's a little cleaned up, but it does have some story elements because our main character has this deep, dark secret that she had once worked as a stripper at a nightclub before getting a respectable job as the housekeeper for an elderly woman who is a very rich woman who seems to be of Russian descent. Yeah, I believe that's what it was, Russian. So, our main character, some of the storylines are good, but they're like always bringing this deep, dark secret thing, and I just don't think it's written in such a way that it's such a mature subject. It's not written as a mature subject. It still feels like it's written by somebody who's trying to be edgy, but they're out of their element. Some of the voice of the narration and things just, it's not the worst. It's better than like bad fan fiction or something like that. But it's still, it needs some work. There's a few inconsistencies where to talk about the color of her eyes and things. There's definitely some places where I was like, where's the editor for this book? Because just sentences, like, this happens to me all the time when I'm writing. You know, you think of one sentence and you type it up and then you kind of change it while you're typing, and you might have some residual words here and there, and if you're on a streak, you're just going and you're typing and you don't necessarily remember to go back and fix it until later when you're rereading it, and that's why you write and then you reread it after it's not fresh in your mind, because if you read it when it's so fresh in your mind, you're seeing what you intended to write. And that's why editors or having friends proofread it or whatever is such a great gift to have, because they can catch those things. And they're not crawling in your head and know exactly what you intend. And that's the purpose of writing, is you're trying to get something from your mind onto paper so people can see it. And so I understand as a writer how those mistakes happened and such. But also, come on, where's your quality control? If you're getting published like this, then you should have some kind of editor or somebody supervising it and making sure that those kind of things get cleaned up. No, it wasn't like it was throughout and completely awful, but it was one of those things when it does happen, you do notice it. And it does get frustrating when you have your third or fourth one after 100 pages So, like I said, it's not like super frequent. It's just, it does take you out of the book a little bit. Most of what I read in one night. I was trying to go to sleep, and I thought, okay, I'll read a book and I'll go to sleep. And it kept me awake. I have to give it that much credit. At least some of the narrative and some of the character and relationship development was well enough that I wanted to keep reading it until I finally looked at the clock, and it was like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I said, no, I need to go to sleep. So then I closed the book, I put the bookmark in, and you know what? That was about 4 weeks ago, and I've had a really hard time, like, just wanting to get back into the book. It's one of those things, it's like watching a kind of movie. If it's on TV, you'll sit and watch it, and you might just get kind of caught up in it, even though if you were deliberately picking a movie, you wouldn't necessarily pick that movie to rewatch. And that's kind of how this book is. It's like, when I'm reading it, it's okay, it's well enough, I'm intrigued enough to want to keep reading it, but once I put it down, I was not interested enough to pick it back up. So, yeah, I'm not going to give it a star rating since I haven't finished it, and I'm just going to kind of let myself off the hook on this one book. And, yeah, all the other books, though, I'm not going to let myself off the hook so easily, but I did try to make sure that everything I picked was going to be something I was going to be more in tune to. And I'd love to see what the publisher was, but it is actually Harlequin UK. It's not like super raunchy or anything like that. It just kind of plays with some stuff on the edges. Like I said, it's like it's trying to be dark and edgy and sexy and sensual, whatever, but it's just written in a very immature style. It's not written, um, it's just, it's a little sloppy. Um, and there are certain things on dialogue that they have the main guy character say that I was like, it just doesn't sound like his character at all. And I know sometimes you do that, like you write lines and you need to tweak it a little bit so that it sounds more like the character, but again, it just feels like this was maybe a second draft. I wouldn't call it as bad as a first draft, but it just, there's certain things that, about the point where I left off, and I had to reread part of that chapter a few times, because I just had a hard time getting back into this book. So, that's it. Alright, I'll see you guys Friday for our next video, where I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this video. But we'll be starting our Disney trial, so I gotta do a pre-trial video. So look forward to that.